I remember when it was my birthday a long time ago and I got Assassin's Creed Revelations, and I remember playing it on a projector and then finding out about Assassin's Creed 1, 2, and Brotherhood afterwards. And those games were my life for a few years. You know, running around the rooftops, doing parkour, jumping in the haystack, doing the little thing. I loved it. Then I ended up playing Far Cry 3, and I actually wasn't allowed to own this game because at the end there was a sex scene, even though you could have opted not to look at it. But I ended up borrowing it from a friend, and me and my sister played a little game where she would have a clipboard of all the animals in the game, and I would have to go find each animal and like hunt it. It's kind of dark now that I'm older, but anyways. I mean, Ubisoft had me by the ear, and if I was this addicted to these games, imagine what they would put out later in the future. I could not wait. And then E3 2013 came around, and it seemed like Ubisoft could not be stopped with the game lineups they had brought out. I'm talking The Division, Watch Dogs, and The Crew. Yes, that very forgettable racing game that was basically just a knockoff of Need for Speed. Far Cry 4, and then the best pirate game to probably ever exist, Assassin's Creed 4. That's right. Fuck you, Sea of Thieves. I'm just kidding. I like that game too. Unfortunately, the gameplay of the year before for Assassin's Creed 4 was a little underwhelming, so it didn't really get hype until 2013. Honestly, Assassin's Creed 4 wasn't even like an Assassin's Creed game. It was just a pirate game where you had a cool blade in your wrist, and that was about it, honestly. I love that game, though. I don't think anybody hated that one. And with the hype of Assassin's Creed 4 coming to next-gen consoles, it was unstoppable. The next-gen consoles were promised new games, exclusive games for next-gen, and it was a bright, bright future for gaming, and also for Ubisoft. But unfortunately, I think this is when the downfall of Ubisoft started. So about a year later after Assassin's Creed 4, we got the next installment of the franchise, Assassin's Creed Unity, which honestly, I really liked. I actually loved this game, but it was not a very popular game amongst the gaming community. It was the first game where you could co-op with your friends. I mean, imagine running across the rooftop, stealing museum pieces, and killing assassin targets all with your friends. It was the first time they ever did this. And unfortunately, it was the last. They never did it again. That's right. It stopped after this game. We also got Far Cry 4, which, while it was a new setting, a new villain, it felt like it was just a copy-paste of Far Cry 3 with a couple little things added. Like freeing outposts. Nope. That was in Far Cry 3. Oh, you could liberate the bell tower. Nope. Again? Seriously? Oh, you can fly a helicopter. You can fly a helicopter. That's right. That's right. Go ahead and throw a $60 price tag on it and put the number 4 next to it. And trust me, you'll get used to this repetitiveness. Don't worry. Then over the next 2 to 4 years, we got all these games that were shown off at E3 2013, but most of them just felt unfinished or just nothing like the trailers. And I think we all know what the biggest false trailer advertisement was for all of these games, and that would be Rainbow Six Siege.
What the fuck? What the fuck is this? That is not funny.
Now, I love this game. I played this with my friends literally all the time. 6-year-old me thought I would be the next Rainbow Six Siege pro and that I would make it in the world. I even played so much, I got the stupid 100,000 renowned diamond ugly camo that you could only buy using the in-game currency. You couldn't pay with real money for it. You had to play the game. And Rainbow, honestly, even though it was completely different from the trailer, it was still a fun game. I love the whole, like, tactical shooter, like, trying to keep an objective while also, like, taking out the enemy. It was something really cool. But in the future, it just, I don't know what happened to the game. I mean, we started the game off with a dude who just threw a gas canister and it blew up. And now you get holograms, walls, you get, like, projectiles, you get more holograms. I don't understand. I don't understand what happened to the game. But with this game started a new wave of darkness for Ubisoft. One that would completely change every franchise, every series that they put out from now on. And it all started with one word: microtransactions. See, Ubisoft realized that gamers will spend an ungodly amount of money to make their character look cool. So they took that concept and they ran with it. And 2017 was where I saw that concept firsthand. So in 2017, we got this game called For Honor. It was a new IP uploaded by Ubisoft, and it was a third-person medieval multiplayer combat fighting game. That is the second largest mouthful I've ever had.
Pause, sir. Over now.
It was actually a really fun game to play, especially with friends, and the combat system was unlike anything we had seen, and I was really enjoying this. But when the game launched, it was nearly unplayable, and that lasted for an entire year. And no, I'm not joking. It was literally a whole year. The game didn't get dedicated servers until 1 year after launch. Now, if you don't know what that means, all right, I'm gonna break it down for you. So imagine you're playing Call of Duty with your friends, all right? You all want to play zombies, you're all having a good time, but you give your host to the guy who has the worst internet in the lobby. Now all of you are lagging because this guy has terrible internet. Okay, so now imagine that, but in a fighting game where it's all based on how fast you can react. See, it doesn't work.
Fuck! Fuck this shit.
But you know what did work at launch? Microtransactions, baby! Woo! Honestly, at that point, I had just completely lost all hope in Ubisoft, and I didn't think that anything they could make would bring back my attention. What? What was that? Is that a new Assassin's Creed game? An advertised new and innovative look at Assassin's Creed? And it's in Egypt? Just go ahead and take my money. Just take my money. Nope, you're wrong. We've actually taken everything good about Assassin's Creed and made it bad. Oh gosh. Okay. This hurt when this happened, man. I was so upset. Assassin's Creed Origins, all right? If you're wondering where Assassin's Creed Syndicate was, we don't talk about that. We don't talk about that one. Assassin's Creed Origins was a breath of fresh air. I saw this game and I was like, oh man, they've done it. They are reviving the franchise after almost falling off the deep end. Assassin's Creed was no longer a simple weapon and combat system. Everything got turned into health bars, hit points, and worst of all, that one devilish word, microtransactions. Yes, microtransactions in a story game. Pay to win microtransactions in a story game. How, what are we thinking? What just happened? I don't understand. The whole game just strayed away from the original idea of Assassin's Creed. You know, when you're going to assassinate somebody, it should just be like, oh, let me just poke you in the chest right there and you're dead. No, actually, as a matter of fact, if you're not a level 19 assassin, you try to assassinate a level 20 boss, ah, darn, your hidden blade's just not metal enough to jab into him. What? How does that make sense? How? This is not The Division. This is not a bullet sponge game. It's a blade in a dude's neck. How do we stray away from that? And then after 2017, we just kept getting the repeats of games we already had. I mean, we got Assassin's Creed, what were the names of the games even? I don't even remember. We got Assassin's Creed Odyssey and an Assassin's Creed Valhalla. An Assassin's Creed Viking game. That's probably the best idea they've ever came up with. And it was terrible. It was awful. You're no longer an assassin. You're just a dude running around with super strength and just murdering people all the time. And it's just like war. The whole point of Assassin's Creed was supposed to be stealthy, sneaky, and like get around places. Far Cry was still the exact same game that it was from Far Cry 3. I mean, we're getting the same gunplay, the same engine. We're just getting the same game over and over again. I mean, how do you make Far Cry boring? How do you make Far Cry boring with Gus Fring as the villain? How? Rainbow Six is making a spin-off of one of their limited time modes from Halloween called Rainbow Six Extraction. I don't know if this is supposed to be like this big launch that they're making it out to be, but I genuinely don't know anyone who is excited for this game other than dedicated Rainbow Six players. Any other random IP from Ubisoft just fell off. They just kept releasing so many forgettable games, like The Crew 2. They made a second one. Why? Watch Dogs Legion and Ghost Recon Wildlands. They even tried to chip in with the Battle Royale genre and made this game called Hyperscape, but the game didn't die in a couple months. No, they shut it down within a couple months. I just started recently looking back on Ubisoft and realizing we just got the same games over and over again. I mean, think about almost every Ubisoft IP. Oh, you have to climb this tower to open this area of the map.
I know what you're thinking, and no, I ain't gonna have you climbing towers all over the county for me.
Oh, you gotta follow this dude. Oh, you gotta follow this dude. Wait for information, then kill him. Like, it's just the same thing over and over again. It's so disappointing to see one of my favorite gaming franchises cave in to modern day lazy game making. But honestly, like 90% of game companies just care about money now. I mean, just look at Call of Duty, bro. Look at any sports games. They just care about money. They don't care. NBA has been the same game for the past 6 years. They just add extra sweat every time they make a new one. Honestly, all these games could have been perfect, and I still would have made this video because of Ubisoft's monopoly. Fuck Monopoly. I doubt Ubisoft is ever going to see this, but honestly, if they do, I just want you to know that I loved your games, and they made me have an amazing childhood, and I hope that you guys can find a way to bring them back to their old glory.
We do not care.